Ducati have released details of the new Panigale V4 SP2, in their own words, the ultimate racetrack machine. The SP stands for sports production and the 2 because it's the second more track focused version of the V4 Panigale. This new for 2022 version is based on the Panigale V4S, which has been heavily revised for 2022. With the launch of the new V4S, it was only fitting to have a new SP2 model that incorporates all the new updates of the V4S. For a more detailed look at the 2022 Panigale V4S updates and specs, you can check out my video about it. I'll put a link at the end of this video. But the SP2 has all the V4S has and more. In this video we will make a quick summary of some of the specs of the V4S, the starting point for the SP2, and then we will look at 7 of the key areas where Ducati have tweaked the SP2 to hyper-focus it for out-and-out track performance. Finally, we'll take a look at pricing and see if the premium you pay for the SP2 over the V4S is actually worth it. Hello and welcome to Moto Chatter. Let's dive into the details. The SP2 runs exactly the same 1103cc MotoGP derived Desmosedici Stradale 90° V4 as the V4S does. It is complete with counter-rotating crank and is Euro 5 compliant too. Peak power is 215.5 horsepower, around 158.5 kilowatts at 13,000 RPM. That's a 1.5 horsepower gain over the outgoing SP, and it also has a 2.5 horsepower gain beyond peak power at 14,500 RPM. 80% of maximum torque is available from just 6,000 RPM, and the peak torque figure is 91.2 pound-foot, around 124 Newton meters at 9,500 RPM. The gearbox ratios have been tweaked and the first, second and 6th gears are the same as is used in the World Superbike V4R race bike. This takes advantage of the extra power and torque, improving performance in low speed corners, many now being able to be tackled in first gear, and the new 6th gear ratio increases top speed, now 5 km/h faster in 2022. The Desmo Stradale engine is also a stressed member of the chassis, having the aluminium front frame, aluminium swing arm and the shell cast aluminium seat subframe bolted directly to it. Suspension is Öhlins electronically controlled NPX 2530 forks and TTX 36 rear shock, along with an Öhlins electronic steering damper. The suspension settings are all controlled by the 2nd generation Smart EC 2.0 system on the TFT dash. It uses an objectives-based system, allowing quicker and easier adjustments to the suspension at the touch of a button and the flick of a switch. It is also event-based, where suspension intensity can be preset for braking, acceleration and cornering. There is a dynamic mode, making the suspension semi-active via the information received by the IMU, and there is a manual mode where the suspension can be electronically adjusted click by click. The Aero package has also been updated for 2022. There are extra vents and the fairing to aid cooling, and the wings have been redesigned to make them thinner and more compact, while still providing the same amount of downforce, up to 37 kilos at 300 km/h. The electronics package on the SP2 is taken from the V4S and has to be one of the most comprehensive packages on the market. Here is a list of what you get. These systems are race derived, with many of the settings for the V4S and SP2 being developed by Ducati Corsa. In addition, there are 4 rider modes, and the TFT dash features the Track Evo mode for the display, which is directly derived from the display used on the MotoGP race bikes. For a more detailed look at this system, check out my Panigale V4S video via the link at the end of this video. The SP2 shares all this with its road legal V4S sibling. The SP2 though is different. It is also road legal, but has upgrades in 7 key areas to give it the edge on track and take it to a higher level of track performance. The most obvious difference is the colour. The Panigale V4 and V4S are available in one colour, red. The SP2 is available in matte black, which Ducati call the winter test livery. It has the Ducati Corsa logo on the lower part of the side fairings, with red accents on various parts of the bodywork. There is also a good helping of Ducati red on the lower rear fairing, where it is made clear that this is the V4 SP2. but with that winter test matte black livery, you can lap around your favourite track like a Ducati test rider or pro in the off-season. The SP2 also features the bare brushed aluminium tank to finish the factory look, and there are red, white and green Italian flag emblems on the wingtips. All the SP2s are individually numbered on the top yoke as well. There is no word on a limit of numbers, but each one will have that individual touch, making it that little bit more special. The SP2 is about improved track performance though, and as such has a lighter final drivetrain with a 520 chain and an STM Evo Superbike dry clutch as per the World Superbike race bikes. The benefit of this is improved performance, particularly under extreme use on track, with more effective anti-hopping and more fluidity off the throttle. You can also delve into the Ducati performance catalogue and change the secondary spring to tailor the engine braking mechanically, just like on the Panigale race bikes. The Panigale V4 SP2 features the uprated Brembo Stylema R monoblock calipers for improved braking performance, especially under track conditions. Ducati say these calipers guarantee high braking power and consistency even in long time sessions on track with no change in brake lever travel. They come with a Brembo MCS radial master cylinder, and the brake lever has a remote position adjuster on the left hand grip, again just like on the race bikes. The SP2 really is a step closer to a race bike than the V4S. The clutch and brake levers are even milled out on the SP2 to reduce air resistance. You no doubt have already spotted the SP2 comes with carbon wheels. These are said to be 1.4 kilos lighter than the aluminium wheels supplied on the V4S. The wheels are 5-spoke and look particularly good with the matte black paint finish and other carbon bits and pieces on the SP2. 1.4 kilograms might not sound like much, but even a small reduction in unsprung mass, and particularly to the wheels, can have a profound effect on a bike's handling and how easily it will change direction. I have forged magnesium wheels on my Aprilia, and it's like a different bike compared to with the standard wheels. Thanks to the carbon wheels, the Panigale SP2 comes in 1 kilo lighter than the V4S at 173 kilograms dry. This can be reduced by a further 5 kilos with the addition of the complete Agropovich titanium race exhaust system, and goes down to just 168 kilograms dry. The race system, which is available for the V4S as well, also increases power by 12.5 horsepower to 228 horsepower and peak torque to 96.6 pound-foot. It's worth bearing in mind though that the system is not road legal and is quite expensive, adding £6,156 to the price of your Panigale in the UK, but we'll come back to that later. The SP2 comes supplied as standard with Ducati's GPS module. It is an option on the V4S and is really a must in the 21st century if you're going to be spending the majority of your time on the bike on track. The module allows for automatic lap timing with 2 split times at the track you're riding at via the GPS. The SP2 also comes standard with the Ducati Data Analyzer, allowing you to dive into your on-track performance data and analyze it to your heart's content. Not standard but available as an option to go along with the GPS module is the Ducati Slick Performance software. This has specific traction control settings for slick and rain tyres. It also has 5 more fully customizable rider modes and the ability of the system to memorize coordinates of up to 5 tracks at the same time. The software will cost you £528.44 in the UK and should really be an option you take if you're serious about taking the bike on track, which begs the question, why isn't it supplied as standard? If Ducati are going to call the SP2 the ultimate racetrack machine, an extra £500 at this price level isn't really a concern, especially considering the extra capability it makes available on track. The SP2 comes complete with Rizoma adonized aluminium foot pegs, which are fully adjustable and feature carbon heel guards. They provide more ground clearance and thus more lean angle, as well as better grip for your boots. When you take delivery of your V4 SP2, you are provided with a kit for track use. This includes billet aluminium caps for when you remove the mirrors, a kit for removing the number plate, and an open carbon clutch cover to show off that World Superbike dry clutch. Now you don't get that with a V4S. But how much extra do you have to pay for the SP2, and is it worth it? Prices for the V4S and SP2 are on screen now, so you can see that on average you're going to pay around £10,000 dollars or euros over the V4S for an SP2. Now I thought that sounded like a lot, but it turns out it isn't. The SP2 is a bit of a bargain over the V4S. Bear with me here. Let's take the UK as an example, for no other reason than that's where I'm from. I played around with the Ducati configurator to spec up a V4S to a similar spec to the SP2. As you can see, it gets rather expensive very quickly. There are no carbon wheel options available for the V4S on the configurator, so I used the forged magnesium ones instead. Add in the dry clutch and the cover, and the GPS module and the data analyzer, and we're already over the cost of the SP2, which still comes with the Rizoma foot pegs, the Brembo Stylema R calipers with the remote adjustable lever, and the lighter 520 chain. Add into all this the track kit, the matte black winter test livery, and the fact that the SP2 is a numbered bike, and the V4 SP2 does begin to look like a bit of a bargain. Well, as much as a near £35,000 motorbike can be a bargain. I can't say for sure from here if the Panigale V4 SP2 is the ultimate racetrack machine, as Ducati say it is, but add in the slick tyre software with 5 more rider modes and the customizable track locations, and for this price I can't think of any off-the-shelf motorbike that comes as close. I guess the decision comes down to if you're going to be on road or on track for the majority of your riding. At least with the SP2 you can ride it to the track, whip off the mirrors and number plate, and you have a bike that will do it all at any track day. And what about the 228 horsepower figure with the full titanium system? Personally, I don't think it's necessary to go for the £6,156 titanium exhaust. Yes, of course I want the extra horsepower, even though I wouldn't really need it. But I think you'd see better improvement in your lap time by hiring some expert rider tuition, and £6,000 will get you quite a bit of one-on-one tuition with an ex-GP winner. I'm thinking Simon Crafar's Moto Voodoo, for example. That exhaust does look good though. But those are my thoughts. What do you think? Would you go for the V4S or the SP2? Would you spec the full titanium race exhaust, or go for some race-winning tuition, or maybe both? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this look at the new Panigale V4 SP2. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe for plenty more motorbike videos to come. You can click the links on screen for more now, but whatever you do, have a great day, and thanks for watching.